So what we're going to do is to place each of the boring bar holders into the vise. We're going to use one as the spacer for one end of the vise and put the other one there. We're going to simply use a parallel on the side of the vise. We're going to push these up against the parallel and then tighten them up, and then we'll check that they're flush. So what we're going to do now is just edge find like this boring bar block here, and once we get that one set up, the rest will just follow suit after that. Zero the x-axis, around the other side. So we've just done the x-axis, we've got the same reading twice, so we're going to sit with that. I'll just go x half. I'll come back to 0. Now sitting over the centre of the part. So I'm just going to do the y-axis now. Just kicked out then. So y-axis 0. Take it out, bring it back in again. Out then, that's pretty much on 0. So bring it to the other side, bring it down, lock it off. Just kicked out then. Just take note of the reading. So we'll try it again, see if we get the same reading. Got the same reading. So we've just done the Y, so what we do now is go Y, half function, and that'll put us in the centre of the Y axis. And just check that. Bring that to 0. Bring this one to 0. Should be sitting right in the centre of our part. So what we're going to do now is, with each one, we're just going to start off with the spotting drill, and then we'll bring the drill sides in that we need for each one. So what we have here is one of the boring bars. Now the first 3 have the same size shank, and as you can see here we've got a 4mm shank, so we're going to get a 4mm drill and put that hole in right for that particular one. Alright, so we've got our drill bit in now. This is a 4mm drill for like the first three that we've got to do. So we'll start the machine, just put a bit of oil on, and just touch off. Alright, so we're going to drill down 30mm, which will leave about 10mm of the shank plus the cutting part of the shank or the boring bar hanging out. So, touch off. Yeah, pretty much zero. Check your way down. So we've got the first hole drilled now on the boring bar holder. We've got the boring bar here. Now the drill drills slightly oversized, as you can see, but it's a good firm fit. It's not moving around too much, so we should be able to get that locked in just nicely and hold position. So we'll set the second one up, same as the first, and we just basically set up to put the spotting drill down, so let's do that first. Right, so this is the next size up. The shank on this one is 5mm, which is a fraction. So we'll try a 5mm drill, see if that works. So we've got the hole drill for the next shank size, which is 5mm. As you can see there, it's a nice firm fit in there without being sloppy. So that's that one done. Now the next size one that we've got to do are these ones. And the shank on those is 6mm. So we've got the last one in now. That's all been set up the same as before. It's a 6mm hole that's going into this one, the same as the last one that we did. And it's going down about 26mm. So we've got our first boring bar holder drill for the 6mm, and as you can see here, it fits just nicely. No play in it, but it slides in and out quite freely. So that's turned out pretty good so far. So we've got the boring bar holders reset back up in the vise again, but this time we're going to take our measurements between the jaws, right, to find the width, and then we've got to do an edge find on here, and then we can work our way back from there. So on the edge finder we did one of the measurements just on one edge, so what we're going to do now is just find the diameter of the edge finder, and as you can see here it's 5mm, or just under 5mm. So we've got to take half that distance and adjust the x-axis. I'm just moving in to compensate for the edge finder diameter, and if you put that on 0, so you're going -2.5. So if you look down here now, you can see that the drill bit is right on the edge of the the boring bar holder, and that's where we want to be. So what we've got now is we've got a stop, so we've got a set point. We found the edge, our front edge here of our boring bar holders, and now we can move in, and we've also found the centre of the holders as well, so we can just move in whatever distance we want, as long as we don't change the y-axis. We're right. Alright, so the boring bar holders are sitting into the holders here in that position, and we've got to put 2 set screws in. So we've got a M5 for one size and an M6 for the other size. So our setup here is that from this edge here, we're coming in 5mm plus half the diameter of the grub screw, which is 5mm for this particular one. And the size drill that we're using is a number 19, so that's the closest drill size that we can get for cutting a 5mm thread. So as you can see here on the x-axis, we're coming 7.5mm that we need to come in for the first hole, and then we'll adjust for the second hole. Okay, so we've got our holes drilled through for our set screws or grub screws, whichever way you want to call them. The next stage now is just to tap all these. So we've got the holes drilled for the boring bar holders. Now we're just going to put the tap through. This particular one's M6 tap. I'm just going to hand tap these. They're not a difficult thing to do. And so I'm just starting off with a starter tap, and I'll just put an end tap in as a last run, just to clean up the thread a bit. So I just swap taps over. This is the normal tap series. You have a starter, an intermediary, and a final. This is the final. There's no point in putting an intermediary through here. It's not a very difficult tap to do. I'm just going down and make sure the thread's clean until I hit bottom, which is there, and I'll bring it out. Just putting, this particular one is a 6mm drill, so I'm just putting a 6mm drill back through the hole again just to clean off any burrs inside. And then once we've done that, we just clean it up with a parts washer. Grease, oil and burrs flush out of there. So we're just putting the grub screw or set screw in, depending on which way you call it. And they go in nice and easy. So as you can see here, we've got a set of, they're actually miniature boring bars, and we made the holders up for them, and that's all been set up. But to give you an idea just of sizing, if I put that on there, the head of that one is just on 2mm. The largest one here, as you can see, is about 5mm. So the whole purpose of these is to get into really small areas and widen them out. So that's particularly why we got these. So as you can see here, this is the smallest standard one I've got, and now we've got these ones, and that's how small they are. So we've got it mounted in the tool holder now, and as you can see, it fits in there nice and neatly. We can tighten down on these screws here and set the height, which is our next part we've got to do, because we've got to get this on centre or just a fraction below centre. Now there is more adjustment in these. These can be brought out further, and that's simply done by loosening the set screws or grub screws, and then drawing that as you need, but that's as far as it goes in.